Lagoon is one of the best independently owned amusement parks in the United States. Located in Farmington, Utah, just a short drive from Salt Lake City, this park has a surprisingly deep ride lineup headlined by 10 different roller coasters, including a few built entirely in-house. Then the park also has some unique flat rides and some scenic attractions to complement those. So in this video, I'll rank the park's top attractions. Before starting the list, I want to note a few attractions that will be excluded. First, there will be no upcharge attractions because I haven't been on the ones at Lagoon. I suspect the Sky Coaster would have been near the top 5 had I ridden it. Second, there will be no Halloween haunts. Both my visits to the park have actually been during the Frightmares Halloween event, and while I've done all the haunts, they do change year to year, so I don't think it's fair to rank them with the other attractions. Third, I have not visited the attached Laguna Beach water park because it's never open for Frightmares. Fourth, there will be no Bat. This coaster often has the park's longest line, but it's a surprisingly rough ride for its size. I honestly prefer Puff the Little Fire Dragon over Bat. Fifth, there will be no Cliffhanger. Typically, I like top spins, but this Mondial installation gave me 0 flips, and it sounded like absolute death when I rode it back in 2018. Starting off the list at number 20 is the Wild Kingdom train. Lagoon's train is an interesting one. Not only does it make a scenic loop around the lake, but it also passes some animal exhibits such as camels, zebras, and even tigers. Just be warned the enclosures are really small, and the animals aren't usually too active. But if you want to see the animals, this is your only way to do so. Number 19, Skyride. This Hopkins Skyride runs from one end of the park to the other. Not only is it a viable means of transit, but it also offers some nice aerial views of the rides and midways. Number 18, Wild Mouse. This Mauer creation has a good first half. You go through the hairpin turns without any trims, so you get some really strong laterals. The second half is braked pretty harshly though, so you not only need to brace yourself, but it takes away the airtime. There is at least a fun tunnel on one of the bunny hills though. Number 17, Log Flume. This Arrow creation is placed way back in Pioneer Village. This leads to a peaceful and serene layout that goes through the woods and over the water. This ride is on the shorter side, and the final drop is just okay, but the ride's placement makes it enjoyable. Number 16, Bombora. This in-house creation is a really neat family coaster. It looks like a larger Vekoma roller skater, but it does a lot of things better. The trains are tricked out with fancy lights and onboard audio. The first 2 helixes have a bit of force to them, and the entire ride is smooth as glass start to finish. Number 15, Air Race. This Zamperla flat ride has some sweet hang time as you rotate upside down relatively slowly. The ride does have a shorter cycle, but it's still a solid flat. Number 14, Boomerang. This is not a Vekoma creation. Rather, this is a set of bumper cars from Elay that has some decent power to them. You can actually cause some impactful collisions. Then you also have a large arena. The downside is that the cycle is really short in this one as well. Number 13, Jetstar 2. This Schwarzkopf Jetstar is a fun little ride. The taller drops are quite zippy, and a few of the turns and helixes have some decent positives. I am not a fan of the seating position on this ride though. Single riders are not allowed, and because you're seated in line, people will be riding in each other's laps. Number 12, Spider. This Mauer spinning coaster features the familiar SC2000 layout, but this one runs a bit better than the others. For one, it starts spinning right off the lift hill, so you'll usually take the largest drop sideways. 2, this one seems to spin more than the others, especially if you have an off-balanced car. And the ride spin only seems to pick up as the ride progresses. Most of the individual elements aren't too notable, but the spinning more than compensates. Number 11, Rocket. This set of S&S drop towers features a space shot that blasts you up, and a turbo drop that shoots you down. I've only done the turbo drop side, and traditionally that's the side I prefer in these installations. This ride offers some stunning views of both the park and the mountains. Then the drop is decent, offering a pop of airtime at the start. Number 10, Dracula's Castle. The longer of Lagoon's 2 dark rides is in a larger show building, so there are some big and tall sets. The animatronics and figures aren't of the highest quality, but they do at least move and they're timed properly. I would love to see this ride get a refresh like the park's other dark ride to unlock its full potential. Number 9, Rocco Plane. This old-fashioned eierly flat can be as tame or intense as you like, and of course, I go all out. You can get some crazy hang time on this ride if you use the locking lever properly. In fact, my lap usually comes off sore from the seatbelt digging into me because I spend so much time inverted. Number 8. Rattlesnake Rapids. Also shoved in the back of the park like the log flume, this intimate rapids ride is another scenic one. You travel through caves and then go past trees and rock formations. The layout also some turbulent sections that'll send some nice splashes into the boat. And if you ride during the summer, there'll also be an unavoidable waterfall guaranteeing you come off soaked. Number 7. Terroride. This dark ride is extremely short. It's just barely over a minute in duration, but it most certainly delivers in the quality department because Lagoon did an extensive refurbishment to it a few years ago. The scenes are well done for a regional park, and they're well lit to showcase all the details. The ride includes some surprising jump scares as well that'll come at you from all directions. Number 6. Roller Coaster. This classic John Miller wood coaster recently celebrated its 100th anniversary, and it is still riding strong. The ride has been changed throughout the years, with two of the most notable modifications being the ride's color changing from white to brown when retracked, and the ride getting 2 trains from GCI in 2018. This coaster doesn't have the strongest pacing when compared to modern coasters, but does still have some solid moments. A few of the drops and turnarounds give really strong airtime on the ends of the train. The smaller hills can't quite match that, but the ride is pretty darn smooth given its age, and I have a whole review going into more detail. Number 5. Colossus the Fire Dragon. This Schwarzkopf double looper excels in both the lateral and positive G department. The first drop has some good whip and laterals. The back-to-back vertical loops are very forceful, and I typically will start to gray out there. Then the transition after those loops offers one of the most violent lateral moments of any ride. I always fold over the seat. The coaster then finishes with some decently forceful helixes. Along with solid elements, the ride is very smooth, and that's aided by the fact it still operates with just lap bars. Number 4. Wicked. This Zier creation is the original vertical launch coaster. Wicked is one of my favorite launches out there. You are forcefully pinned to your seat as the LSMs overcome gravity and send you towards the sky. The rest of the first half is equally as great. The top hat offers not one, but 2 distinct and strong spots of ejector airtime. The speed hill has some floater, even with the trims, and the 0G roll is incredible as you gracefully float out of your seat for several seconds. The second half is comically bad though. It is a slow and plodding mess that doesn't do anything. See my review for more, but if Wicked's second half was as good as the first half, it could have claimed the second spot in this list. Number 3. Samurai. I love Mondial top scans. They're capable of being my favorite flat ride in the world when run well. While this one isn't as crazy as the ones overseas, Samurai is the best one in North America. You get 4 rotations in each direction. The ride has okay sustained laterals throughout, and there's no shortage of inversions. It was a mix of slow revolutions loaded with hang time, and then there were other parts where you were rapidly flung towards the sky, getting some airtime, and then sometimes a faster flip. These rides are so intense and disorienting. Number 2. Flying Aces. I had an amazing experience on the Spish Roco flying scooter back in 2018, and my ranking reflects that. I got some of the best snapping of my life. If you're unfamiliar with snapping, it's a phenomenon on flying scooters when you get some slack in the cable, and when it suddenly releases, your tub will shimmy and violently lurch forwards. It is one of the most thrilling sensations on any amusement ride. These were as easy to snap as the famous flyer at Cannibal's, and the employees at Lagoon were openly allowing it. My ride in 2022 was still very good, but not nearly as intense. The ride didn't feel quite as fast, and interestingly, it went down for the rest of the day after I rode it, so I think there may have been an issue. I would love to hear from a local if I just got a bad ride, or if the ride has been toned down. And coming in number 1 is Cannibal. I still cannot believe Lagoon designed and built this ride in-house. It is a fantastic coaster, and a unique one too. It starts with one of the world's best drops. That 20-story, 116-degree beyond vertical plunge is pure insanity. The drop seemingly lasts forever, starting off with ejector airtime before morphing into floater for the rest of the descent. Then the ride packs in 4 great inversions. The Immelman has good positives. The dive loop has a shocking pop of ejector airtime going into it, and the Lagoon roll has some truly crazy hang time because you're secured by just a lap bar. Along with a bevy of exciting elements, the coaster has some nice theming around it, and it's immaculately smooth. This ride alone is worth a trip to Lagoon for reasons I state in my review. So those are the top 20 rides and attractions at Lagoon. What are your favorite roller coasters and rides at this park? Let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this countdown, I'd appreciate it if you gave this video a like, and you considered subscribing because there'll be a lot more roller coaster and amusement park videos here at Cannibal Coaster. Thanks for watching.